In this video, we are going to take a quick look at some of the commands in our freeform ribbon tab. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file, generic. I'm just going to name it freeform. Okay, so our freeform tab is here, and we can think of these commands in broader terms as dealing with surfaces. Okay, and we're going to take a look at some of these commands. Many of them we will skip over, either because we do not need to know them, or because we'll be covering them at a later date. Okay, so let's start off by creating some shapes and curves that we can use our commands on. I'm going to navigate into the wireframe tab and create a few rectangles on my top plane, sorry. Let's navigate into a top view. Okay, finally I will create a cylinder. Okay, so these are just a few things that we'll be using to show our commands with. So in the freeform tab, we'll take a look first of all at our ruled surface. This command allows us to create a ruled face between two curves, okay, two paths. So we can select a first curve, second curve, and we'll have a resultant ruled face drawn between them. Okay, we can choose to sew shapes if we have other shapes we want to connect it to, and a couple of other settings. Okay, so this is our ruled surface. Confirm the operation, and we have a face. Okay, under this drop down menu we also have a circular by rail, and this is going to work in a similar way to our ruled surface, except we are creating a circular face between our two curves, our two paths. Okay, these curves do not have to be straight as they are in this example, and our curves can also be edges. Pick two edges or curves. We can define the radius for our circular bi-rail face. The solution will change our resultant surface. Okay, we have a few methods. We're just going to stick with the constant for now. We're just showing you these commands quickly. Okay, so here is our circular bi-rail. Moving on, we have a conic bi-rail. This is similar to our circular bi-rail, except we're defining it slightly differently. We are able to play with the conic ratio. Okay, so these are three different ways to create surfaces between two paths. Next up, we'll take a look at our n-sided command. This command allows us to create a surface by defining its boundary. Okay, and we can define its boundary by picking curves or edges or curve lists. If we confirm the operation, a surface will be placed inside of these boundary curves. Okay, now notice when I'm doing this, we have these green squares. These signify the open edges. If we connect a curve or an edge to them, they will turn to triangles. This means that we have a closed intersection there. So at the end we want to see a shape with no squares, just all triangles. Like so. Okay, we also have an Fim Pouch. Now this is similar to the n-sided command, but it has a bit more flexibility, so it is generally used where the end-sided patch will fail. Okay, so it works in a similar way. We define the boundary, but as you can see, there's a lot more to this command. Okay, moving on, we have our dome command. If I just erase the face on top of this cylinder, okay, the dome command allows us to create a dome by specifying a profile. Okay, so a domed surface will be created. Let's pick the profile as this edge. Okay, and we can then drag out a dome shape. Okay, this profile can be a curve list, edges, a sketch, or simply curves. Okay, and we have 3 different methods for creating our domes. Okay, and we have other options available in here. But this is the principle of this command. Okay, moving on, we have an offset command. This allows us to offset a face a particular distance. Okay, so we could offset this face, distance of 5mm, and we have a copy of it, 5mm in that direction. If, however, we offset this face here, 5mm, you can see the offset is in a direction normal to the face. Okay, so a point on the face here is offset 5mm normal to the face. This is an offset. Okay, moving on, extend face. This is quite obvious. Pick a face, pick an edge, and we can extend that edge a particular distance. Okay, we can pick multiple edges. We're simply extending the face. Okay, moving on, we have some useful commands here, these 4. We'll start off by looking at our split with curves. This allows us to split a face with curves on that face. So let's insert some curves on a face. We'll use our curve on face 3 points command. Let's pick a face. Let's draw a closed curve. Middle click, confirm. Okay, I will also create an isocurve on this face, just like that. Let's also place some UV text. Okay, now let's take a look at our split with curves command. Okay, so we can split a face. We pick a face with curves that are coincident on that face. So let's pick this curve. Okay, if we confirm the operation, we have split this face at the point of that curve. Okay, there's a few more options in here, and we'll see examples of using these within the lessons. Okay, so this is split with curves. Moving along, we have split with faces. We can split a face with another face. Okay, we can split a face with a datum plane. Okay, a plane or a face. Confirm the operation, and we've split the faces with that datum plane. Okay, moving along, we have trim to faces. Now this is pretty much exactly the same as our split with faces, except we will be deleting one side or erasing one side of the face. Okay, so maybe we will extrude this curve. Come into our freeform tab, trim to faces, there you go. Okay, finally in this group we have trim to curves. Okay, so again this is like our split with curves, except we'll be trimming to our curves. Okay, so let's play around with our text. Pick the face, pick our curves, doing a chain pick. Okay, it's a bit difficult to see them now. I can see them just about. We now pick the faces that we want to keep or remove. Okay, so if we select faces to keep, we can just make out our lettering here. We pick the faces that we want to keep, confirm the operation, and the rest will be cut away. Okay, so this is a pretty nice tool. Okay, moving on, we have a reverse face direction command. This is pretty obvious. We can reverse the direction of a face. Okay, so remember the pink side of a face, this is the inside of the face, the gold, the outside of the face, the open side. Okay, moving on, we have a merge faces command. Okay, this allows us to combine two faces together. So let's first of all split with curves, this face, this curve. Okay, so we have two faces here. Our merge faces command will allow us to merge these two faces back together into one complete face. Next up we have our explode command. Okay, the explode will separate faces from their base shape. Okay, so let's say we have a shape, this one here, contains 4 faces, or 5 I should say, with this one here. It's a complete shape, but if we use our explode command on one of these faces, confirm, okay, it's going to separate that face from the base shape. Okay, so this shape is no longer part of this shape. Obviously this is a separate shape as well now because it is not connected to our first shape. Okay, so this is what the explode does. It separates our faces from the shape. Okay, we also have a sew. This is going to do the opposite. It's going to connect our faces together, our shapes, to form one complete shape again. Okay, so the explode and sew are almost like opposites of one another. Okay, also we have our basic editing commands that are the same as within our shape and wireframe tab. Okay, so these are a few of our freeform commands that we have looked over quickly, and they should make more sense as and when we come to use them in our designs.